Hi.
Hi.
Welcome to A B Convos
Reacts.
We're back.
We're back.
For good.
Dun, dun, dun.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
So first you're going to get a quick overview of the movie. And
well, if you want to talk about a quick overview of the movie, this is a sequel to the movie Wicked. I'm going to tell you right now what we're talking about is this was an interesting film, kind of delving and touching into the same timeline as when Dorothy actually dropped in to the land of Oz from Kansas. So you see a little bit of that. You see a lot of backstory with the witch, with Glinda.
Glinda.
Which is the good witch essentially, but we really see what's going on with the wizard himself,
right?
And a lot of that is tying in. One thing doesn't necessarily mean something else, but then we also see munchkins. We see a lot of exposition, if you will, that involves all of these characters that ultimately does lead into what we have come to know as the Wizard of Oz movie.
Right.
So that is what this movie is all about.
Much in the vein of the Maleficent is the movies and the stories of taking what we always believe to be the childhood villain and giving us a backstory or even a different view that would show you that indeed that wasn't who the villain was. It was who we always thought was the heroine, or the you know, I guess not just the heroine because these are men, but you know, who we thought was the hero. Oh, did we think he was a hero? I mean, I don't think, you know, in the Wizard of Oz movies, we did know that he was a fraud. I guess, really, though, these movies are not as much about them at all. It's really more about the relationship that these two people have, this sisterhood, this kinship. Their relationship has transcended into the real world in a very interesting way. But oftentimes you see that with actors. They get so caught up in their roles, they kind of don't know where reality begins and the fantasy ends. But this movie was just fun.
Delightful.
It was fun. It was just a fun ride. I enjoyed the first movie. Obviously, you should have seen the first movie before you see Wicked 2. I don't know. I mean, if you haven't seen either, man, you're missing out. You're really missing out. We had seen Wicked originally in the theaters. We had surprised our daughter years ago, and we really enjoyed it. I wasn't sure. I thought the 2 would probably be good, but I didn't really know if it would be as good as 1. You know, sometimes it's a hit and miss. This was kind of like Dune for me. Like, you know, like I wasn't sure what I was going to think of Dune 2, but I actually liked Dune 2 better than Dune 1. I think I actually also enjoyed Wicked better than the first one. So what was your overall, you thought it was fun, but was there any critiques? Because we know he has those.
Well, let me preface this by saying I am generally not one for musicals.
Right.
I generally do not care for musicals. There are a few musicals over time that I've watched and I've enjoyed, and this is actually one of them. We like you said, we saw the play. The play was delightful, and so as soon as the movie hit, I went, okay, this is a must-see. Did not disappoint. I really enjoyed the fact that we had some really nice, thought-out characters that could sing.
Right.
And these two ladies, they've got the pipes.
And the music was great.
The music was great. I have no complaints. The beauty of this that I've liked, and this is sort of the same with the Star Wars series, whether you're a fan or not a fan, because I know there's all kinds of debate about when Disney took over and the Disney shows and things of that nature. But the thing that I like about that is that it fills in the blanks. It fills in holes. You know, whether they're great stories or not, it tells a story that we wouldn't have otherwise seen in the theater. So I've appreciated that, if nothing else. And that was the really cool thing for me with Wicked for Good, is that it happens at essentially the same time. It starts a little before, but it gets right into when Dorothy comes down here and the Scarecrow, and they do the whole journey. And we've seen that for years and years and years. They came on again because we just obviously came out of the Christmas season, and it's a holiday, and you just hit the camera, thank you so much. And it's a holiday classic. But like you had said, the interesting thing about this is that that movie had things set up in such a way that made you believe certain things about certain characters. This film, my goodness, it really paints things in a much different picture. Interestingly enough, something that we had missed that you might have seen, we just watched again, the original Wizard of Oz just the other day, and I said, wait a minute, I saw something at the end when the wizard was going, well, I'm going on a journey, and I'm, going up, and it was the Tin Man. The Tin Man unwrapped the rope that let the thing go up in the air, knowing full good and well that Dorothy was supposed to ride with him. I never saw that before. And now that we've seen this movie, it all makes sense. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Somebody is a little sour. Again, going with Star Wars, you had Jar Jar Binks, Misa Sith Lord. Yes, Jar Jar Binks was a Sith Lord. I'm not going to get into that right now. But basically, the character was one way that we thought of, and then we see other stuff and we go, oh my gosh, it really wasn't like that at all. So not only that, but you had the wizard himself, and that got a little deep. Yeah,
it was interesting to me that it seemed like, to me in the first one, it seemed like he was looking for her. Like, I found her, he was looking for her, she has the power. And from the first interaction, I said, oh, he's her dad. And so I feel like by the time that came around, I was confused as to why he couldn't figure that out. Like,
spoiler alert.
So I thought that was weird that he was the wizard, but he wasn't bright enough to figure that out. But
the wizard was also a bit of an alkie, so I'm not surprised.
Yes.
His memory might have been a little skewed.
Right.
Because he likes sipping back on Grandpa's old cough medicine. And that's all well and good. The nice thing about this also is we had that infamous scene when Dorothy throws the water onto the witch, and it's, oh, what a world, which I was waiting for. It didn't happen. Turns out things weren't, again, quite as they seemed. And I was hoping for, and I loved that. The thing about certain films, as somebody that's gone to and graduated from film school, there's something that you do call creative license, and you will take a time-honored story and you'll start tweaking it a little bit for various reasons. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, in most of the instances, I would say it did work. The Scarecrow was actually the love interest. You actually had these, you saw these characters as humans, and because of events that had led up to them being transitioned, they were kind of soured in their own way, I guess you could say, and for good reason. So everybody basically had a stake in their feelings as to why the witch, the Wicked Witch, should be, X, Y, and Z. And there was also some overarching story as far as propaganda going on, knowing that this is really this is really that, but for the greater good, for a greater purpose, we're going to frame this in such a way to the people that they're going to believe whatever it is that we tell them. And that's really what happened. That's kind of like you see a lot of times in real life. So that was really, really interesting. And so that was really interesting to me, is that seeing how all of these different stories are coming into play and the backstory and why everybody feels a certain type of way about somebody else. I loved it. Now, with that said, talking about creative license, like I said, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You all tell me if I'm missing something. There are a couple of things here that I actually didn't care for. One, I have watched the Wicked Witch for many, many years. I have never seen the Wicked Witch's gams. Okay? And can I get to the gams? Sweet Wicked Witch's gams. I'm not going to sing the song. But the point is, I did not expect to see the Wicked Witch and oh boy,
Get down.
Get down with the get down. I personally could have lived without that. And that's just a personal thing. I feel like, and we didn't see anything overt. I'm simply saying that they could have alluded to without actually showing skin. Like he was getting his shirt off and he was down. I'm all like, hold up now, there's kids in this audience. We don't need to see the Wicked Witch and them bumping uglies. We don't need to see none of that. Okay, I'm just saying that was unnecessary. So I had an issue with that. Two, the Munchkins, and this is something that I'm not quite clear on. In the book, as we saw in the movie, the Munchkins were tiny people. So we hear the word Munchkin, and I'm thinking immediately, okay, we're about to get a transition. This is when the Munchkins actually go from regular sized people to little people. That didn't quite happen. And that is where I'm thinking creative license wise, this is not making sense. So, when you have her sister's love interest was a Munchkin who ultimately turned into the Tin Man. When that transition started to happen in the movie, I'm thinking, okay, you just identified this person as a Munchkin. He said, my heart, I feel like it's shrinking. Boom. I'm thinking this person's about to be 2 feet tall. Did not happen. Ended up being the Tin Man. Okay, cool. But I am thinking at that point that all Munchkins everywhere are about to shrink down to little people. Did not happen. So we did not get what we saw in the original film being these really teeny tiny people who are the Munchkins, even though we know the Munchkins are there. And this is also again happening at the same time that Dorothy and Toto have popped in. So right. I'm not quite clear on why that did not take place.
Right, and honestly, when I first heard them say he was a Munchkin, I'm like, wait, all these people are Munchkins? What? I mean, because it's almost like the Willy Wonka thing, right? Like, a Oompa Loompa isn't going to be a full-size person. You know what I mean? And the Munchkins are Munchkins, bro. When someone's small, you can say, hey, little Munchkin. Like, that's the definition of what Munchkins are now. So I do agree with you. That threw me off. And I was also waiting for them to become Munchkins. And so that was, to me, a miss. Was probably the only miss for me in the film.
And you had the sister who had then said, all Munchkins everywhere, you're no longer, able to do this. So I'm thinking, okay, she's got a thing against all Munchkins because of her dude. So then she's opening the book and she's trying to cast a spell, and Elphaba's like, you're not saying it right. You're mispronouncing the words, you're not doing the spell right. And I'm thinking, okay, that's a perfect time for her to just take it out on all the Munchkins. And it didn't happen. So that's the one glaring oversight, I think, more than anything for me, because the Munchkins are synonymous with the Wizard of Oz. We heard the phrase and we didn't get Munchkins.
Right.
You know? But it was cool to see all these people turn into what they ultimately turned into, and seeing the relationship, seeing that Glinda really was, even though she went to the same school with Elphaba, she didn't have any magic. She's always wanted to have that. So there was always a little bit of jealousy deep down inside that she had something that Glinda really always wanted and actually could never have.
Right.
So that's a really interesting thing to see how these relationships are, to see how they are, to see how we're going to just fake the funk, fake it till you make it, if you will. It worked. So overall, for me, I think this was a very satisfying sequel And whether or not they do another one, I mean, you know how Hollywood is.
I know.
You know, you make a little bit of failure and you're like, okay, let's just figure it out.
Right.
I'd rather they didn't.
Right, because I don't even know what you would do from here.
Just kind of leave well enough alone.
Leave it alone.
You know, because we saw that they did do a Wizard of Oz sequel, and it was terrible. It was terrible. Just, we're not even going to talk about that. But overall, I think this film was very good. It hit at the heart of what the Wizard of Oz was all about, and this really had me saying I can never watch the Wizard of Oz the same way again.
Right, and that's what you want.
and I really appreciated that, especially with the flying monkeys, which
gosh.
Again, initially you're like, okay, they're just on the side of the witch. No, they actually were against the witch because the witch turned them into abominations. They were like, you did this to us. Everything you're trying to do, you keep messing up. You know, burn the witch. You know, kind of a thing. And I really appreciated that. And then they alluded to also, you heard, well, I heard the witch can this and this, and I heard that the witch is so and so, and you can pour water, and you go like, so I'm like, okay, you just opened that whole thing up, and then it actually happened, like the rumor, but the rumor wasn't true. It was really cool. They did some really good things with this movie. Overall, some creative license was good. Some I don't know. But again, if we're missing something, you let us know in the comments. But I will say this is a definite go. Definite 2 thumbs up, 2 snaps and a twist. I don't know what we're doing. Is that copyright? We're gonna give this 2 snaps and a twist. I don't know if that's copyright. We may not be able to use that. But either way, I think we both agree this is a good film.
Agree.
It was a good sequel. 2 thumbs up. Go out and check it out. That is it for A B Convos
Reacts.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.